Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're taking a look at a decoder from MRC. It's actually called the Loco Genie wireless locomotive control system. Now this MSRP is for less than $100 and it comes in this handy dandy little case here with a remote. We'll get into that later. Now MSRP is one thing, but you can find this available from what I've seen online at anywhere from $60 to $80, so it's a pretty good deal in terms of decoder prices for a sound decoder with a speaker and everything attached. But in this video we're going to test out some of the features and see if it's actually something that you'd be interested in. You can hear some sounds and see some different features starting right now. Alright, what we have here is a locomotive that I've opened up and unfortunately split a wire on while I was opening. But we have here is basically the DCC ready board, as you see in several different brands of locomotives. And you see the quick plug harness and the 8-pin harness. We'll be using the 8-pin harness for installation of this Loco Genie, and it's very, very simple. Simply unwind the packaging here, you plug in the 8 pins here, right into this area here. Now that that's plugged in, you can route the speaker wherever you want. You can mount it under the radiator fans or somewhere in here. It's got double-sided tape already on there. You also get this 3M tape as well included in the package. So because this is just one of the 2 units I've installed this in, I'm just going to tuck this in here. We're going to close this up and put it on the track very quickly to go ahead and test things out. Alright, the Loco is semi-closed up. I haven't really mounted anything. I was just trying to get the shell back on somewhat. Remote control here. You have 2 AAA batteries you gotta provide yourself here. So install these puppies. And that is the remote. Now this is not the only thing that it operates on. It also operates on the DCC control. You've got DC control, AC control, all operable on those. The remote obviously enables you to play sounds on the DC control and AC control if you're not using DCC. Let's go ahead and fire this bad boy up. So this one is installed somewhat, but on this locomotive I've actually done a full install. I just haven't put the couplers back on. And as you can see, this is now on the track. So I'm going to take an opportunity to demo here is moving both locomotives independently with different controls here. Both have batteries in the controls. This one is for the BNSF, this one's for the UP. So we'll test out a couple things. Bell on that one. Can barely hear because the speaker isn't in a very good spot at all. It's actually in that speaker chamber with absolutely no ceiling, but this one works. But more importantly, we're going to move this one. great. So as you can see, we are moving both at the same time. So I can stop the one up here. And then the BNSF is going to run into it if I don't stop the BNSF one. Now, out of the program, or out of the box, the start voltages and stop voltages are set quite high. On a DCC controller, it takes 8 speed steps before it starts moving. On this remote, it feels like you're hitting it 4,000 times, but that can be adjusted. And as you can see, I've already adjusted it for the UP model. Stops a lot faster. I've gotten it to start on speed step 1 on DCC control, no problem. So, what is the point behind this? It's multi-level, really, audiences, I guess you would say. The first one and most important one is, here, let me shut this off. The most important audience is the DC modeler that is getting tired of going to places and cannot operate sound, can't operate with anybody because he's DC, you know, especially the easy DC installs like the 8-pin plugs where he's just got DC locomotives. He's a DC modeler, he can't take it to the club or anything. So he can now take his locomotive to the club, plug this thing in very quickly. He can still operate it on DC, he can operate on AC, he can go to the club and operate it on DCC, all with just this one decoder without any problems. In addition, he has the remote, so he can take his locomotive along, doesn't have to worry about learning DCC controls. Very simple remote layout there, as you can see. And this remote will do programming. As you see, the P there can hold both of these down, go into programming mode, and start cycling through bells, horns, speed steps, changing start voltages, etc., all with this control. So, with that said, I think it's important that you guys get the sound quality. The BNSF is not a good one to show you the sound quality on, because it has a very, very leaky system. But on this one, I used the actual speaker, double-sided tape, and I installed it so that the speaker's facing up through the radiator fan grills there. And that provides some really good sound so that we can go through and you can hear all the different horns and bells available. So the first horn and bell I'm going to play for you is the one I picked just out of acoustics. I don't know about prototypical accuracy, simply out of acoustics for best sound in my opinion. Here's the horn. So there you have the bell and horn that I chose. Now you can go into program mode by simply holding down the 2. You hear it say program mode. Now every time I hit the bell and horn, it actually switches. So now we're going to go through a myriad of different bells and horns. We'll start with bells. think we cycled through all the bells. You heard it say off. That means you can go without any bell. I hit and hold program again, and it saves that mode, and it leaves the bell on. And I hit program again to do the horns. I'm just going to save that one, kind of get back to a decent horn and bell. And that is basically the horn and the bells. Now you also have a lot of prime movers, including EMD 567, 645, 645E, 710, 539T. We won't have time to go through the prime movers because we have to cover some additional features, but I will show you those additional features. You still have full lighting control, and I'm going to show you that in both DCC mode, DC mode, with the remote, etc. So I'm going to reposition the camera up to the front. Alright, as you can tell, the headlight and the ditch lights are on. Got the MRC Advanced Elite here, programmed to 3. We're on DCC mode. I can still turn off the headlights turn on and off the lights. Light is working in the other direction as well. I'll just verify that. Yep, working in the other direction as well. And with the remote, make sure I got the right one here. Yep. The remote, we can do the same thing. So the directional button is up top. I can now power the lights with that as well. Switch to DC mode. So now I'm in DC, conventional DC, where you have to ramp up the power to get some movement here. As you can see, the lights come back on, sound comes back on. Still have control of the locomotive. And able to move the locomotive as well. Slow it down, stop it, all under DC control. Slide that back up here. So I usually show you guys manuals when I do reviews and unboxings at the beginning. This is a little late. I forgot one of the prime movers, which was Alco 244. But this is a receiver, transmitter, and installation guide. It tells you how to install, what wires do what. Even though you have a simple 8-pin plug, you have some extra wires there. Goes over the transmitter function table, how to change things there. And on the back side, light effect chart. You can do lighting effects like the gyro light, dynamo effect, fading, dim bright, off cycle, rule 17, Mars light effects. Functions all the way up to 28, which we don't have time to cover them all. And yes, it's something that can be programmed with CVs. I actually programmed CV start voltage so that it would actually, so I could test whether it would smooth out at step 1, and it was very smooth operating at step 1 once I programmed CVs. And just all the CV lists there. Wanted to show you with the CVs adjusted, start voltage CV, which is 2, put in a data of 68, and instead of starting at speed step 8 now, we can start at 1. And as I do in my reviews, you get to see how well the decoder reacts in terms of jerkiness, and you have very, very smooth operation at 1 speed step. So I highly suggest if you do buy this, that you're doing so and putting data at 67 on CV2, and you'll have very, very smooth operation. So 1 speed step is very, very smooth. No jerks. Crawling along the track, that's up to 5 speed steps there. It's moving along pretty well. So way down there on the other end of the roundhouse is the UP locomotive, and I've got it way down there because I'm a one-man show and I've got to be able to test this out, which is momentum control. I'm going to read this to you real quick. It says, tight turns, slight decline, or approaching a station, Loco Genie provides the unique feature of momentum control. Press the stop button to put the brakes on. The locomotive will begin to slow with momentum. Press the up arrow or down arrow at any time during the braking process and maintain speed, or simply allow the locomotive to come to a stop. Press the stop button twice for an immediate stop. Now I've got it way back there because I'm going to have to jump cut to this thing moving at quick speeds, and then we will stop it and we'll slow it. So we'll do a 1 stop to slow it, and then the up arrow to continue on. We'll do a stop to let it slow all the way to stop, and then we'll do a stop, which will make it immediately stop. We'll test all 3 of those. I've already tested these off camera, all 3 work, but I want to demonstrate these for you. So I hit the stop button twice, immediate stop. If I hit it once, it starts to slow down, and if I would have continued, we would have been coasting at that slower speed. So I only have limited track area to show you this because of the way my layout is. There's no real place to chase the camera along for too long and try to operate everything, but this momentum control does work. I'm going to stop, then resume, and it slows it down. Okay, now in the background you see BNSF. I'll hit the light just so you can see that that is controlled by the Loco Genie on that one. This one, we've got the UP. Gonna move this up and get it moving. So now you have both moving here, and then I'm going to just pull this camera off and show you that we are on DC here. 10 volts of DC, not running on DCC. So I can convert, it's called pass through, back to DCC, but this DCS commander allows me to go to DC mode. So I'm going to shut it off before these locomotives run away on me. It's a lot to control with one person doing this. But basically, I wanted to demonstrate that you can control these on both DC and DCC. So now you have to really mess with the, you know, get a feel for the start voltages on where you want things to go. The remotes can take some time to adjust to. Moving, you see me kind of frantically hitting the up button. If the start voltages aren't right, it's not going to move until you get the start voltages tweaked. But there is this ×4 here that each hit of that button will get things moving. So again, here's an outlay of the remote controls, and they are paired to whatever decoder you have. So I have demonstrated for you both DCC operation with these controls, both locomotives moving, and DC operation for both these locomotives moving. Gives you a little bit of versatility for the product. Well, that was an exhausting review. It took a lot of work. So, Loco Genie. When people think Genie, they think 3 wishes. You don't get any 3 wishes from opening this package, but I have a feeling it's going to make a wish or 2 answered for the DC modelers that have problems just, you know, being able to be a DC modeler in a DCC world, and you know, any which direction you want to run with that. AC people, DC people, DCC people, etc. One decoder kind of covers it all. Now let's talk about price. Like I said, MSRP is just shy of $100. I believe it's $99. This is just starting to hit the market from what I can find online. But you're going to find it online usually around $60 to $80. So at that price range, I think it's an excellent value considering what you get. You get the remote control, you get that coasting feature, you can still do all the lighting effects, you have all CV control, you have lots of different prime mover sounds, you have different horns and bells. MRC sound has improved dramatically from the first time I ever heard an MRC sound decoder back in probably about 2009, and I believe the decoder was probably from 2005 or 6. But the sounds are up to you. That's the ear of the beholder, which is why I give you the 5.1 surround sound. Let you go through and listen to the horns and the bells. I may have even played the horns twice, I don't know, but that's up to you. But in terms of functionality, I believe it works well with some CV tweaks. In terms of start voltages and moving, very smooth once you get that handled. Out of the box, it takes about 8 speed steps and then it starts moving. Some folks don't like that. That also reflects into the controllers where you're hitting the buttons a lot, so you may want to adjust that. But overall, very impressive product from MRC. I think it's going to help a lot of people out in DC and DCC get along better, operate at a club. You know, if you got friends that have different types of layouts, they can now operate together. It's great in that aspect. If you have any questions, please let me know, because products like this, usually a lot of questions to be answered. I usually get a lot of emails through my contact me link on YouTube and my Facebook page and everything. And sometimes I miss stuff, so I'm sorry, especially on these new products. It's usually a lot of stuff that could have been covered that's missed, or I just intentionally skip stuff because of time. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time right here on my channel.